The woman had a strange experience. A huge cane toad was just sitting in the toilet. No one knows how it got there, or how she managed to get it out.
Hospital, like simulate a hospital room.
Okay.
They got a doctor to wake him up and tell him, hey, you're waking up from a 12-year coma. Like it's like 2030.
Oh yeah?
You just woke up. This prank happened a long time ago.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like 2030. You just woke up, and he's like, what? What happened?
Yeah.
You're driving drunk, and you got into a coma. You should never drink and drive ever again.
Yeah.
And then another doctor came in and just started slapping his. That's why you don't drink and drive.
That's why you don't drink and drive. That's why you don't drink and drive. He likes pushes the dog that way. So that's actually a great prank though.
Yo, it's really good to.
Yeah.
It taught him his lesson.
It taught him his
right?
lesson. He should have been in jail for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually
Raw
that's a fucking lie.
sewage soaks on people's bags at JFK Airport. You heard me right. Raw sewage. You know the stuff that leaves the toilet? Some people on Virgin Atlantic Airlines had their bags covered in it. Ugh! And just so you all know, it's human raw sewage. But Virgin Atlantic Airlines decided to give everybody a $150 voucher. Yeah, you know, to cover the cost of everything you took with you on vacation. The airline blamed a system failure at JFK Airport for the bags getting soaked in human waste. Now, I want to say something about JFK Airport. A few years ago, my son and I had a layover at JFK Airport. And I got to tell you something. They were the nicest people we dealt with on our whole trip. Yeah, the people at JFK were far nicer than the ones we dealt with earlier in the trip at LAX. I don't know what that has to do with getting people's bags covered in human waste. But hey, you know, I thought I'd add that in. Shabadoo, Whiskeys! Shabadoo!
Who were called crazy but ended up being right. This photograph shows Ignat Semmelweis, a Hungarian doctor in the 1840s. He noticed that women were dying from childbirth fever in hospitals but not at home. He suggested that doctors should wash their hands between patients. The medical community was outraged and called his ideas wrong. They said gentlemen's hands were always clean and removed him from his position. Semmelweis struggled with the rejection. Decades later, germ theory proved he was absolutely right, and hand washing became standard practice that saves millions of lives today. This image shows Alfred Wegener, a German scientist who proposed in 1912 that continents moved across the Earth's surface. He noticed that fossils and rock formations matched perfectly across different continents like pieces of a puzzle. The scientific community rejected him, calling his continental drift theory incorrect. They said continents were too heavy to move. Wegener passed away in 1930, still doubted by his peers. In the 1960s, plate tectonics proved he was completely correct about how our planet works. This photograph shows Barbara McClintock, a geneticist who discovered in the 1940s that genes could move and change position within chromosomes. Fellow scientists called her research so unconventional that she stopped publishing her findings for years. They said genes were fixed and couldn't jump around. McClintock continued her work quietly while others dismissed her ideas. In 1983, she won the Nobel Prize when science finally caught up to her discoveries about genetic mobility that revolutionized our understanding of DNA.
It's actually in the Grand Canyon. They don't want you to know that.
Yeah.
There's pyramids down there. There's pyramids in the Bermuda Triangle. That's why they lie to you about the Bermuda Triangle. It's a fucking lie.
Right.
Because there's space stations down there. Extraterrestrials come out of our waters and go down to the next world.
Right.
Okay, it doesn't always go up through domes because you have to have a certain frequency to get through a dome.
You could go
So
down.
a lot of them go down through the shoals under the earth of the whole plane of Earth and come up through oceans.
Ocean.
We don't have that technology because we're only 8,000 years old.
Right.
They have it and have been fucking monitoring us since we were born.
Right.
But we don't know that because we're stupid and we pay attention to television.
Television. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a lot to take.
woman's going to give you some euphoria.
I require all my guests to use the bathroom outside. Hi, my name is Ivy Bloom, and this is my outdoor potty area. I used to let my friends use the bathroom in my house, but I've since learned how unsanitary that is. Before entering the potty area, I require guests to put on these foot covers, and first-timers are required to read the rules. The most important rule is to dig at least 6 inches from an existing stick, because that's where another guest has dug a hole. It's pretty simple. You just dig a hole, do what you have to do, and put your toilet paper on top. I provide seeds that must be placed inside to keep my garden growing, and once that's placed inside, you cover it up with the dirt you dug up, and then place some leaves on top. The last thing you have to do is mark the spot with one of these sticks. I do live in Arizona and it gets really hot, so I provide a bucket with refreshments and snacks that visitors can snack on while using the bathroom. And yes, there is a privacy curtain. Once that's done, they can take the covers off their feet and wash them in this bucket. Then they have to place them in this jar so that the next guest can use them. Once my guest is done using the bathroom, I require them to sign this journal. And I do respectfully ask for tips because maintaining this area can get a little expensive.
Marvel, which is Disney, the biggest movie making machine empire on earth. They are pulling out of the United States, y'all. You heard me. The Fantastic Four, the next Avengers, Spider-Man, they are all moving out of the United States and moving across the water to the United Kingdom. I thought Marvel was located out in California, but the empire is actually in Georgia. And you know what just took place last week in Georgia at that Hyundai plant, right? About 600 Korean people left the plant, and now the plant is in bad condition, and now Marvel, Disney is pulling out.
And if you love Marvel action movies, I'm one of those guys. Well, Marvel, which is mostly based in Georgia, has decided to make the decision to leave the United States of America with the loss of up to 20,000 jobs. It's leaving Georgia. It's mainly going to the United Kingdom with some production facilities to Canada. And the reason why it's leaving the United States of America is because it's too expensive to do business in the United States. And also, the United States is a bit nuts right now.
So that's 20,000 people out of a job in the state of Georgia once again. And there's talks around town that a whole bunch of celebrities, including Jay-Z and Beyonce, after the wildfires that happened in Los Angeles, they purchased a 58-acre estate in the United Kingdom. Ellen DeGeneres moved to the United Kingdom. Rosie O'Donnell moved to Ireland, I believe. Christina Milian moved to the United Kingdom. Lindsay Lohan. Everybody's leaving the United States, y'all, because they know what's about to happen. And it's not like we care about where these celebrities are going, because that world is over with. But Marvel, the biggest movie-making conglomerate, y'all, the shit is here, y'all.
Snoop Dogg got a lot of people mad right now because they say he switched up. They said first Snoop was mad with all the LGBTQ stuff that was happening in kids' movies. Now he's dropping Love is Love, and he's working with Glad. This was Snoop's statements at first about the Buzz Lightyear movie. I'm like, what part of the movie was this? These are kids. We have to show that at this age, they're going to ask questions I don't have the answer to. And now they like this. And people just asking the questions, how could he? How could he not? Y'all got to remember, Snoop got to play by the rules too. Because we all remember this, right? That's the double. He sold that soul. This is not a sign of growth. This is a sign of pressure. Having to. Hollywood don't change opinions. It reprograms them. He didn't switch sides because he wanted to. He switched sides because that's what the industry demands. And that's what he signed up for.
Each one is disturbing, mysterious, and refuses to be explained.
Online.
Let's dive in.
Late one night, she and her boyfriend were splashing around in the pool, just having fun, when something happened that left her completely baffled. As her boyfriend walked over to the side of the pool, he reached out for something, and that's when things took a bizarre turn. His arm suddenly appeared unnaturally long, extending far beyond what should have been physically possible. It looked as though his arm stretched all the way from his shoulder to the raft. something he definitely should not have been able to reach from where he was standing. So what exactly is going on here? Was it a camera glitch, something paranormal, or is Alexandra unknowingly dating one of the X-Men?
I went down the wrong rabbit hole on TikTok today. So I seen a video of a guy saying that pigs' eyes have a strong resemblance to humans' eyes. And then he gave an explanation for the shit, and it really messed me up. Look at these damn eyes. So basically he said that he read somewhere that it said in the Bible, Jesus casted out a legion of demons into pigs. And of course, if you know the Bible, you all know the story. Those demons didn't want to go to hell, so he put them into pigs. Okay, so now listen to this shit. Why is it said that the pig is the most dirtiest animal to eat? And I'm not trying to spoil your day. I'm just taking you down the rabbit hole that I went down because this shit really just messed me up. The last point he made was that pigs cannot look up at the sky. With how their body is built and how they are made, they cannot look up at the sky. Oh my God. Basically, pigs can't look up to God. Pigs cannot look up to heaven. That shit smoked me. But that didn't smoke me more than this. I went on ChatGPT and asked ChatGPT, what do cannibals say human flesh tastes like? Look at this shit. Here, let me move out your way. Look what that shit says right there. It says that cannibals say that human flesh tastes like pork. Look at that shit. Read that. That's it with the rabbit holes with me today. That's it for every I'm not going down any more rabbit holes.
Noticed something strange. Across the street, a man was laying on the median doing sit-ups. Thinking this was hilarious, Caitlin began recording. But what happened next left them both scratching their heads.
Why is this guy doing crutches? Wait, where is he? Where is he? Ah! Oh no, he ran away! Where is he? It's because you said that. He's gone. Where'd he go?
Somewhere outside of the room, almost as if someone they couldn't see was keeping an eye on them. They stepped out the doorway when things took yet another strange turn.
Oh. This feels just horrible right here. Are we talking?
What's that smell? I know this is a really horrible, disgusting thing to say. It smells like someone just burped.
Yeah, that's coming from there.
Like, it smells like someone just eaten, really, really strong tasting food.
Oh, that's coming from here. Yeah, that's disgusting.
Like rancid.
Oh. It's like fucking old barbecue crisp to me. Like,
yeah, it literally smells like someone just eating food and then burped at your face.
Female voice was caught talking at the same exact time as Elliot. This voice is faint and in the background, but it clearly doesn't belong to either of them. As time went on, the investigators eventually ended up in a small room in the back, stating that it felt like something had led them there, and they were finally ready to ask the one question that had been on their mind all night.
We know that potentially someone...
That left viewers deeply unsettled. According to the uploader, a friend was scrolling through recent notifications from their security camera when one alert immediately stood out, and after watching the footage, they were left downright terrified. In the middle of the night, a strange reflection on the refrigerator suddenly triggered the camera to start recording. That alone was unsettling, especially since everyone inside the house was fast asleep. But moments later, a ghostly white figure stepped into view. The shape was almost completely transparent, leaving behind a faint trail as it quickly passed the camera. Its form was unmistakably human, yet there's no doubt this was definitely not a living person. This has got to be some of the clearest footage of an apparition that I've ever seen. She and her family were touring a house, and she casually recorded part of the walkthrough on her phone. But later on, when she rewatched the footage, she heard something that sent a chill down her spine. While alone in her apartment, she thought she saw something move out of the corner of her eye. And when she turned toward the bathroom, she caught a glimpse of a shadow moving. In disbelief, she began recording, completely unaware of what was about to happen next.
I was just getting ready for work and I freaking saw something in my bathroom that scared them. Taking out of me. I don't know what it was, but it looked like a ghost. Like literally, I think I just saw a ghost. I want to get out of here. I want to get out of my house. I'm so scared. It was like right there where those shadows are. Those are shadows from the tower right there. But there was like a shadow right there where those other shadows are. And it looked like a person. It looked like a ghost. Like right there.
Explanation for what she captured. And if someone had been using that bathroom, there's no doubt that this would have scared the out of them.
No one was touching her. Clarita claimed she was under attack by two demonic beings, one a large hairy man and the other with an angelic face but twisted evil features. They bit, scratched, and tormented her, forcing her to speak in perfect English, a language she didn't even know. Now, her attacks didn't happen in the shadows. They erupted in broad daylight during court hearings, in front of police, journalists, doctors, and government officials. Witnesses swore they saw her convulse, scream obscenities, and collapse as invisible. The body stored inside had been deceased for 19 hours. Back in 2014, a hospital in Sao Paulo, Brazil experienced a series of events so terrifying that two morgue workers quit the same night. Surveillance cameras captured every second. The footage shows a stainless steel morgue drawer shaking lightly at first, then violently. The freezer door begins slamming, and minutes later a black mass leaks from the bottom, pulsing, expanding, and then rising upward in a crawling motion. When workers opened the freezer hours later after the clergy arrived, the body inside. Now, what makes this moment unforgettable is what happened next. You know, the camera zooms in automatically because the motion sensors detect a figure, but there is no person in the doorway. Instead, you see a thin human-shaped silhouette gliding across the floor, kind of stopping at the doorframe and then vanishing as if the door just shuts again. The shadow is actually generating its own opacity, meaning its own presence. Now, hospital staff refused to enter the room without clergy assistance. A priest was called in the next morning to bless the wing, but according to nurses, you know, the disturbances continued for months, eventually forcing the hospital to relocate that storage unit entirely. This video remains one of the most circulated paranormal clips in Spanish language news. The demon in the backseat, the Utah Highway Patrol dashcam incident. The officer didn't see it until he reviewed the footage. He thought he was approaching a crashed car containing one very frightened woman, but the dashcam showed something impossible. There was someone already sitting in the back seat, staring directly into the camera. In March 2005, the Utah Highway Patrol responded to a single vehicle crash on a very quiet mountain road. The driver, a woman in her 30s, was hysterical. She kept repeating the same phrase, "Something was in the car with me. I could hear it breathing." Officers dismissed it as shock. She kept repeating the same phrase, "Something was in the car with me. I could hear it breathing." Officers dismissed it as shock until the dashcam recording made seasoned investigators refuse to drive that road after dark. Now, as soon as the officer touches the door handle, the figure drops out of sight, melting into the shadows. Audio engineers notice something else. During a 2-second window right before the officer speaks, a very low, growling sound appears in the waveform, low enough to be below the human vocal range, but loud enough to register
into the abyss, or a cleverly orchestrated tale. It still resonates as a symbol of our insatiable quest to pierce as Mortis the Wizard accompanied a pastor to a house plagued by a reported demonic possession. The pastor, doubling as a demonologist, issued a somber warning to Mortis before their fishing noises, adding an unsettling layer to an already nightmarish encounter. Hey, Beetlejuice! Astonishingly, Mortis claimed that these eerie sounds didn't require they may seek rational answers. Believers in the paranormal find themselves at a crossroads. The peculiar combination of growling, profanity, and belching in the recording is both unsettling and thought-provoking. It forces us to confront boundaries of the rational.
I am the devil.
With each other, with one being quoted as saying, "People are stupid as pigs. They think it's all over after death. It goes on." And another replying that the first was nothing but a big mouth who had no real say in hell. Throughout these sessions, Annalise would frequently talk about dying to make up.
Of friends was hanging out outside when they noticed something eerie.
What is that? Guys, what is...
A weird face emerged from the darkness, its pale, hairless features looking completely inhuman. Sadly, the footage ends before anything else happens, keeping the mystery unresolved. In 1996, near Varginha, Brazil, the military allegedly shot down a UFO that had crash-landed in the area. Upon investigating, soldiers reportedly discovered a strange, almost reptilian creature about 7 to 8 feet tall wandering in the woods. The being was captured, but what happened to it afterward remains unknown, fueling mystery and speculation. Some believe this was a genuine extraterrestrial encounter, while others think it might have been a hoax or misinformation. In 1999, Bigfoot enthusiast Paul Freeman headed into Washington State's Blue Mountains, a place he'd explored many times before in search of solid proof of the legendary creature. During this trip, he heard strange noises, branches snapping, heavy footsteps, and rustling nearby. Trusting his gut, he grabbed his video camera and started filming. What he caught on tape became one of the most...
Surprise! A CCTV camera in a restaurant captured a strange moment that no one could explain. A man, appearing to be a worker, casually reached for a bottle, but instead of just grabbing it normally, his arms stretched unnaturally long, way longer than should have been humanly possible. He grabbed the bottle, acting like nothing unusual happened, and then placed it back on the table. But before that, he looked directly at the camera with a creepy, knowing stare, as if he was aware of what he was about to do, and just didn't care that his superpower was gonna be revealed. Or maybe that was his plan all along. Or maybe he wanted the fantastic...